As part of our Hamburg Mix Design series, we talked to 6 companies about their Hamburg test equipment. Here's our interview with Wade Collins from Pavement Technology Incorporated. Well, hey, Wade, thanks for joining us. I appreciate you making the time for this call to talk about the Hamburg. So, Wade, can you tell us about Pavement Technology Incorporated?
Absolutely. Pavement technology was started in 1996 by Dr. Don Brock, who's the founder of Aztec Industries, and Ronald Collins, who was the former state materials and research engineer with Georgia DOT. Pavement technology was started to develop innovative asphalt and aggregate sampling and testing equipment. We are what you call a full service company. In other words, we design, we manufacture, we deliver, and we train the customers on how to use our equipment. We work in all 50 states and we work in 30 countries overseas. This poster over here shows some additional products that our company manufactures. We have a real-time quality control system for asphalt plants that allows you to sweep a sample off of a moving conveyor belt, drop it down into a drying oven, weigh it, dry it, reweigh it, and give you a moisture content, and then drop the dry sample down into an automatic gradation unit where you contain the gradation of the sample. We've also developed an automatic quality control system for asphalt plants where you have the ability to capture a representative sample out of the back of a truck, bring it over, drop it into a field ignition oven, weigh it, burn it, reweigh it, and get the asphalt content, and then drop that burn sample down into an automatic gradation unit. And then finally, we also, for aggregate plants, we have the ability at an aggregate plant to sweep a sample off of a moving conveyor belt without stopping the belt, drop it down into an automatic gradation, and do real-time gradation without stopping the belt. Over here is just, we also build custom-made mobile testing laboratories. This is a photo of a 65 by 10 we built for a contractor a few years ago. These are custom-made labs, totally equipped. They can have generators, restrooms, all the testing equipment. Basically, they're set up, calibrated, and ready to go. And so here's a couple of photos here showing the outside view and inside view of some of the testing equipment that we put inside the mobile testing labs.
Oh, very interesting. I've actually seen NCHRP studies and different reports for various pieces of your technology. It's interesting to hear you talk about them actually in production. We're here talking about Hamburg machines. Can you tell us about the PTI Hamburg wheel tracking machine?
Our Hamburg machine is called the Asphalt Pavement Analyzer Junior. It's also known as a Universal Loaded Wheel Tester. It's a 2-wheel loaded wheel tester that applies the load utilizing pneumatic cylinders. The pneumatic cylinders apply the load directly to the wheels, which apply the load to the samples. We have a digital encoder that captures the measurements, 11 measurements per pass. It can capture more than that if someone's interested, but it captures 11 or more measurements per pass. It also has a temperature controlled water bath here you see that maintains the temperature of the water and the level of the water during the test. Our machine is run on a PLC, PC-based control system, and the data is displayed on an Excel spreadsheet. So that's a little bit about what our Hamburg. We also have other features that the APA Junior can do. It can also perform the AASHTO T324 APA rut test, which is a rut test with concave wheels and rubber hoses. Rubber hoses they're filled with air and they represent basically the same diameter as a truck tire out on the roadway. This test is done all dry and environmentally controlled chamber. We also have the ability to do the Federal Aviation Administration P401 specification, which is required for all FAA airfields now. It's a high pressure rut test. It's run at 250 PSI, hose pressure, and 250 pounds of load, 64 degrees Celsius. We also have the ability to run microsurfacing slurry seal testing with the machine. We have the ability to do what's known as a per wheel test, which is for highway and airfield applications. This test is run with solid rubber wheels or pneumatic wheels. The machine also has the ability to do forensic testing on in-place pavements. You can go out and pull cut out field cores. You can bring those in. You can determine what the remaining life of a mix is. You can determine what layer that failure is occurring in, and you can use that information to help you with a rehabilitation strategy. And finally, we have an optional chiller that can be added to the machine that will allow you to do low temperature fatigue testing on asphalt samples.
Wow, it's sounds like the machine was designed to satisfy a lot of different standards. And just looking at it, it physically looks smaller than other machines. Was that part of the initial design concept, was to fit into a smaller footprint?
Absolutely. As most people know in our industry, space is a premium in design labs and in QC labs. This machine is 47 inches in length and 25 inches in width, as you can see here. And you can basically fit it most anywhere. And it's a very quiet machine too. You could actually put this in your office and run it without it disturbing you at all. So it's we like the footprint. We think the versatility is very important. And like I said, I've seen a lot of people that have a very small space in lab, almost like a closet, and they have the ability to put this machine in a very small area. If you wanted to put samples in the machine here, you would simply open the front door. The wheels do come up and the carriage goes to the very back of the machine. You have a gate right here. Let this gate down, and then you put your samples in here. You close the gate back up. You turn on your water pump. It floods the chamber like you see it here right now. It continuously percolates and maintains the temperature of the water. You run through your calibrations and then you start your test.
What are some of the safety features of the APA Junior machine?
The APA Junior has limit switches on each of the doors. Basically what that means, if someone is curious and decides they want to come by and open up a door, it will terminate operation of the machine. We also have an emergency stop button here on the front. Another safety feature, once again, if someone needs to shut the machine off, you have ready access to it here on the front panel. Also we have a safety screen that goes on the front door here. If the door is open, it has a safety screen that would prevent somebody from sticking their hand inside the machine and injuring themselves.
Earlier, you talked about a number of test methods that the APA Junior meets. So does the machine comply with AASHTO T324?
Yes, it not only complies with it, it exceeds many of the specifications and requirements in the test method. As an example, we can go up to 80 degrees Celsius in test temperature. We have a 5K encoder that will allow you to take hundreds of measurements per pass if that's what your desire is. So to answer your question, yes, it not only complies with it, but it exceeds many of the requirements in the test method.
And then earlier you mentioned a number of FAA standards and other standards where the wheel pressure was higher, the temperatures were different, as well as the actual the APA test, the hose and the wheel. I'm sorry, I'm getting that name, the name of that test incorrect.
Yes. The APA will run the high pressure testing, which is required on Federal Aviation Administration airports. It's called a P401 spec. That test is run at 250 PSI hose pressure, 250 pounds of load, 64 C, and it has a failure criteria of 10 millimeters, and a 4,000 cycle test takes about 1 hour and 15 minutes to run that test. That is a required test now for all FAA airport projects in the United States. We can do other things too that I mentioned earlier. We can do microsurfacing slurry seal testing. We can do per wheel testing, which uses pneumatic or solid rubber wheels directly on the specimen, both for airfield and for highway applications. We can also install an optional chiller that will allow you to do low temperature fatigue testing on the machine as well. And we can also do forensic testing with Hamburg or with the APA rut test, which is AASHTO T324-10. We can do forensic testing on field cores, which allows you to determine what type of failure is occurring and where that failure is occurring, and use that information to help you with rehabilitation strategy.
What do you recommend for calibration and maintenance of an APA Junior machine?
For calibration, we recommend that the wheel load be calibrated periodically. We also recommend that the area and water temperature be calibrated. The speed and then the linear variable displacement transducers be calibrated. We do offer a calibration kit that a customer can purchase with a machine, or later if they'd like to, they can do all of those calibration. Regarding maintenance, we recommend, we have pillow block bearings on the linear rails here that we recommend they be greased periodically. We also recommend the water tank be cleaned periodically. It does have a spray bar installed inside of it. It's basically a self-cleaning system. You hook a water hose up to it, it will clean itself, and then the dirty water or whatever will drain out of another pipe. We also recommend checking the water pump. It has a screen in it. We recommend checking it periodically for any debris. But machine is, I would say, fairly easy to maintain. On new installations, we also recommend hooking up what we call a water separator or dryer, which keeps the moisture out of the pneumatic system and keeps good clean air coming into the system, which is, if anybody knows anything about pneumatics, that's kind of the lot of a pneumatic system, is keeping good, dry, clean air coming into the system.
Does PTI, do you offer service and support for your machines?
Yeah, we offer 24-hour-a-day, 7-day-a-week support for our equipment. We have a software system called Team Viewer that allows us to dial in or connect, might be a better word, connect directly to a customer's computer and do diagnostic testing on software controls and mechanical components of the equipment. We also have a group of trained technicians that can come directly to a customer site anywhere in the world and can do training. They can do service, they can do upgrades, they can do retrofits, basically cover any part of training or service work on the equipment.
So Wade, if somebody were to purchase an APA Junior, what would I need to do to prepare for that installation with my building?
The main thing you need to do is you need 230-volt electrical power, single phase on a 50-amp breaker. That would take care of the electrical. You would need compressed air, 120 psi compressed air in 3 to 5 standard cubic feet per minute volume of air to control the pneumatic system. And then you would either need to hard pipe in your water and drain, or if you want to bypass that, you could use a standard garden hose to fill the tank and to drain the tank as needed. Space-wise, the machine is 47 inches in length and 25 inches wide, so you would certainly need a footprint, that size to put the equipment in. Really, the front door here is the only really thing that you need to access here when operating or calibrating the equipment. So as long as you've got 3 or 4 foot of space here in front of the door, you're fine as far as that goes.
In your opinion, what's next for Hamburg wheel rut testing or other rutting index tests?
I think the next step is implementation. From a DOT perspective, what DOTs typically try to do is build a database of their different mixes. And this could be several hundred tests, and then they establish what's known as a failure criteria. Failure criteria simply means if you submit a mix design, it must meet that criteria, or the mix design is rejected. For contractors, I really think this is a great opportunity for them because it gives them, number one, more freedom with their mix designs. And I think it's going to be a part of the balanced mix design methodology that was currently trying to be implemented in the United States today. But for contractors, it allows them the ability to determine what drives performance in a mix design. When I say what drives, I mean what aggregate, what binder, what additive, what recycle drives performance, and try to design a mix that costs the least amount of money without compromising performance. I really think that's the heartbeat for the contractors. Today, in today's world, we use performance testing to check volumetric mix design. I think in the future, we'll use volumetrics to check performance.
Thank you to Wade for representing PTI. If you'd like to learn more about PTI, visit their website linked below. To learn more about LASTRADA, the world's leading construction materials testing software, visit our contact page to speak with one of our engineers.